I'm Barry Conrad, and this is Banter with BC. Cheers. Your water. And today I'm here with my guest, Mitch Orr. Mitch, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, what's up? I'm Mitch Orr. I'm a chef that's currently unemployed, and that's about it.
Nice. And to kick things off, we like to start with something called Two Truths and a Lie. You're up.
All right. I have cooked for Jamie Oliver, Ed Sheeran, and ASAP Ferg. Which one's the lie?
I'm going to say Ed Sheeran.
Me, you're right.
Yes! Yes! Finally, because I always...
You never get it. Yeah.
Never.
You always pick it up.
Why do you have to remind everyone? It's true. My turn. My auntie Kathy in Cape Town, where I'm born, is a pastry chef. Mm-hmm. I almost got wiped out by a truck scootering in Rarotonga. Mm-hmm. And I can't stand the sound of someone writing with a Sharpie.
Writing with a Sharp, or like on a whiteboard, or just on a piece of paper?
On a piece of paper and a whiteboard. Just that sound, you know how grating it is?
I'll say the middle one, the scooter.
That's the lie?
That's the lie.
You sure?
Yeah.
You are incorrect. Let's go. My auntie's not a...
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. But I didn't want to dish your auntie though, that's the thing.
Yeah, I thought like he might know some people's like, that's not really...
Not in Cape Town, no.
There you go. Not in Cape Town. Yes, 2 in a row, because I had a Marley Golden actor last week.
Yeah, I know Marley, yeah.
She, as well, I guessed hers as well, and she got mine wrong, like 2 in a row, baby. Let's go.
You go.
Making it up. Let's eat.
Nice, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Mitch, what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
I'll probably book this trip to Japan. I'm not really that spontaneous. I'm very creature of comfort. I like my routine. I like having systems in place. I'm not really that spontaneous, because I'm a homebody as well. Like, I love being out and being social, but I'm always the first one to leave. I'm always the first one to go home.
Oh, really?
I want to be in my own space and at home with the cats. And
so you're an early bird.
Yeah.
Homebody.
Yeah.
You'll show up, but you aren't really hanging around.
Yeah, I want to go, I want to see everybody, and then I'm going to be sick of everybody in an hour, and then I'm going home.
So we better keep...
I want the invite. I might come, I might not, but
yeah.
I want the invite, and if I don't get the invite, I'll be really upset.
Yeah.
But, you know.
We'll just say hi to them out.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Exactly.
Japan. So I know you've been there like, what, 5 times?
I think it was my 6th. Yeah.
What is it about Japan that keeps pulling you back? And what about the culture, I think, has influenced your cooking style?
It was my first trip overseas. Japan's one of those places that every time you go, you talk to people, you're like, oh, I'm going to Japan. I go, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to go there. And everybody's list is different. There's so much to explore and so much to see and so much to eat that you can't do it all. So there's constantly a reason to go back. And then when you go back, you want to still do your favorite things and then try new things. So there's constantly something to draw you back. And then the streetwear culture and the fashion is very much in line with what I like. And it's like the mecca for all of that stuff too. Mm-hmm. So combining the food and all of that and how easy it is to get around and just the buzz of the cities and you know, or you can go up into the mountains and it's so much more chill and like it's the best. Yeah.
Still on my bucket list to go there, and all the people I met from there are so nice.
Yeah.
So polite, so kind. And everyone who's been there, like, bro, like the fashion, like the food, everything you were saying. But just to add on to that as well, like with the cooking, why? Because you've been to other places, you've been to Cambodia, other countries.
Yeah.
What about that culture or the food inspired you so much to fuse that with what you do?
Japanese food is so full of deep flavor and technique, and in Japanese culture and food, you concentrate on one thing for so long until you become an expert at it. You know, like if you want to be a sushi chef, you start by cleaning up and sweeping the floors for 3 years while you watch and learn, and then you start to do one thing and it's this long progression, and people dedicate their lives to just doing one thing, be it sushi or say soba noodle. Or I don't have the attention span or the work ethic to do that, but the flavors of Japan and the base of making dashis and all of this kind of stuff, it's so elemental to my cooking because that's the style of flavor that I love to eat to begin with. But then when most of my training was in Italian cuisine, there's so many overlaps of those two cuisines. You know, Italian food pulls umami from things like Parmesan cheese, mushrooms, cured meats like prosciutto and stuff like that. So both cultures have noodles and pasta. They're essentially the same thing. Both cultures have rice, risotto, and short grain rice for sushi or you know, sides and that kind of thing, donburi bowls, etc. So there's all these familiar crossovers that make sense. They're just presented in different ways. All the flavor of umami is pulled from different things. So it's really easy to overlap them and have them make sense. They don't clash with each other, they complement each other.
Sounds delicious, and I actually have not tried this guy's cooking yet. I think yet, ... So that's gonna change soon. Because while I was preparing for this episode, I was like, watching stuff, reading stuff, like, it just sounds amazing, man. So I can't wait to, it sounds interesting, I should say, you know, because there's a lot of tasty food out there, but I love that fusion that you're talking about. So never tried that before, so let's go. Okay, so was there a moment before Prince of Pasta, for anything, a moment that sort of lit your fuse or made you go, yep, this is what I want to be a chef?
I think I was really lucky that I realized it from quite a young age. And a big part of that was school. And, you know, back when I went to school some 20 plus years ago, when you started in year 7, you did, each term you would do like a different part of design, and it was called design and technology, right? So you would do woodwork, metalwork, home economics, and food technology. And doing food technology, I was like, oh, this is mad. You get an extra meal. You get to cook something, you're not really reading a textbook, you're doing stuff with your hands, you're sort of learning by doing. And then that turned into choosing it as an elective, and then eventually choosing hospitality as well in year 11 and 12. And Huey was on TV in the afternoons, Jamie Oliver's shows had just started.
Yeah.
These sort of cooking shows were starting to become more prevalent and a bit more popular and all that kind of stuff. And because like it was someone like Jamie who was a chef who then broke into TV, made it really approachable. And my parents hated cooking.
Really?
Yeah, so they were like, you wanna cook something for the day? Help yourself, you know? Like, yeah, whatever you wanna do, no problem. So that interest was fostered, and then doing work placement as part of hospitality studies in year 11 and 12 and going into a commercial kitchen for the first time and just feeling that energy and knowing that it's immediate, there's adrenaline, it's dangerous because you can cut yourself, you can burn yourself and all this kind of stuff. And it's not a corporate atmosphere where you're sitting behind a desk and, writing an email and, you know, like it's very immediate. And I always, like, I knew that I didn't want to work in an office. I thought maybe I'd apply for the fire brigade or be a groundskeeper or
fiery,
do something that's like active and, you know, and then luckily cooking sort of fell in my lap and called out to me, and it's all I've ever done and it's all I know how to do. So lucky it's been all right.
Well, a bit more than all right, you know. It's so interesting because I was chatting to a videographer, Wes, shout out Wes Tan behind the camera, and he was saying as well, loves to cook, but his mom hates cooking. So it's interesting how people who fall into cooking, it's not necessarily passed down at all.
And it's kind of either one of the extremes, right? Either your family hated it or you grew up at your grandmother's knee or something like that, and they're passing everything down to you. And I'm also just a white boy, so I don't have that deep cultural tradition to be passed down kind of thing, you know? It's just burnt sausages and frozen peas and corn. Yeah. So that's different, you know what I mean? So to then be able to go and engage with different cultures and be surrounded by so many different walks of life in a kitchen and to see all that influence and stuff is really new.
I feel like he's probably the fastest eater at all my guests so far. It's just like smashing it.
Everyone else pretends to be pro.
Ninja style. Name a disaster you had in the kitchen that's so bad it gives you PTSD now, like something really bad.
I think I've been pretty lucky, and I think in some ways you sort of just end up blocking those things out, but I've left stock on the stove and forgot to turn the heat down and left it raging at full bore overnight and come back, and luckily there was a lid on the pot, but come back to just carbonized interior of the pot and open it up and just smoke it.
Wowzers.
That's probably the biggest personal one. And there's always little ones like someone strains the stock and throws the liquid out and keeps the bones instead of vice versa.
That's funny.
I've had people drop tubs of egg whites down the stairs and you just watch the egg whites cascade down the stairs, and there's nothing worse to clean up than, you know, spilt egg whites. Are so sticky and gloopy, and you know, I've been really lucky. There's always little things, like we're all humans in the kitchen and you make mistakes and stuff like that, but that's also how you learn and improve. So yeah, I've been pretty lucky that there's never been any real major disaster.
Let's talk about jats and anchovies and butter. What inspired that creation? It was very popular. We were talking about it before you got here.
Jats is an iconic Australian biscuit, obviously.
Yes.
Very nostalgic for a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
So I started serving jats as a snack at my old restaurant Acme, and it's a little bit of a piss take because you're buying a biscuit that everyone has in their house and their parents are probably serving them when they were kids with shitty cabanossi and cheddar cheese on kind of thing, but that's kind of the beauty of it as well. So I first put it on the menu at Acme because I wanted something really quick and easy that we could just hit the table with really quickly, and we just did it with pickles and salami and a bit of mustard butter, and then it sort of grew, and I went to a friend's restaurant, Sixpenny in Stanmore, and they changed one of their dishes and covered it with jats instead of the normal garnish, just to take the piss out of me kind of thing. And then I was like, all right, it's good that it's catching on in a way, and even if it's people making fun of it or having a laugh, that's still good. So then I started doing like a little series of jats inspired by my friends' restaurants and some of my favorite restaurants, and using their signature dishes as a topping. And then when Kiln started, I knew that that would be a little tie-in from my past and where I've been and what my voice is, but also a good way to translate the fire and that smoke characteristic into an easy snack. So that's why we use the smoked butter on it, but also anchovy and butter and a bread of some kind is such a traditional, such a classic thing to start a meal with. It makes a lot of sense. Just putting my own spin on it, and instead of just having bread, a tin of anchovies and some whipped butter, putting it on a jats, it's still the same components, smoking the butter to add another level of depth, and using a really beautiful anchovy. You're letting the produce sing and you're not doing too much to it, but it's still presenting it in a different way and showing my personality and having that nostalgia touch point and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, anchovies is so tasty as well. I saw the photos of it, how it's sort of wrapped around the butter. It's so good.
They might make a reappearance at,
Come back?
a collab event or something like that. Yeah.
I actually love anchovies. I like to add them on, it's way more basic, but like sourdough, toasted sourdough with like cream cheese and like anchovies.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So what's your weirdest habit?
I don't really drink coffee. I think that surprises people when you're a chef and you don't drink and you don't drink coffee. I've started drinking cold brews lately, but because it's very similar to tea. I don't like espresso or like hot coffee at all, but cold brew because it's such a slower process and more mellow process. I'm very like particular and pedantic about things, but I don't know if I consider that weird.
That's not weird.
No chef has to be a little bit everything.
Exactly. All the good ones are, because if you're not organized as a chef, you're never going to be successful. It all comes down to how organized and how on top of things you are.
Right.
Every time you pick something up, you put it in a different place, then you're wasting time. You're like, where did I put that thing? And where if you're organized and things go back where you got them from and all that kind of stuff. And
well, you're obviously disciplined and really organized to do what you do. So there you go. I didn't know if you drank or not, but I'm not surprised. It's just like, okay, that's great.
I think it's becoming a bit more common.
It's the sober, curious, and
I never really got into it when I was younger. I never really liked having a hangover. And then when you're young and you're working your ass off, you're waking up to do a double shift on a Saturday after being out, clubbing on Friday night or whatever, to add a hangover to that.
Yeah.
It's really brutal, So I know I've got to go to work tomorrow. I can still have a good time. I don't need to drink. I'm over 40 now, so it's even harder. Every now and then, if there's a really nice bottle of wine open, I'll have half a glass or something.
Yeah. What is the structure of top tier kitchens like Sapia and Pilu? What have they taught you about yourself, not just as a chef, but as a man, as a person?
Every kitchen's different, and you learn different things from every kitchen you work in. A lot of the times you learn more from the not so good experiences. And that doesn't mean that like the kitchen was abusive or anything like that, but you might just not have enjoyed that style of food or that style of restaurant and the pressures that come with those different things. Like when I won the Young Chef of the Year award, I went over to Italy to work in Italy. I had this idea that I'd come back and open a fine dining Italian restaurant that was really progressive and all this kind of stuff. And I was staging at one of the best restaurants in the world, and I realized that that's not the environment I like working in. Right. I like working in an environment that's much more chill. You can have fun. the staff can talk to each other, you can laugh and giggle, and you're still taking what you do very seriously, and you're still putting an amazing product on the plate, but you're not being pretentious about it or taking everything so seriously. At the end of the day, we're just cooking food. Like, it can be fun and it can be really great. And that's kind of what I try and create in my venues now. Is I want people to want to come to work, and I want them to leave with all the skills that they've picked up, and leave as a better chef, but also leave as a better person that has a bit more understanding of themselves, a bit more understanding of the things that maybe hit their stress triggers and make them, you know, push their buttons one way or other, and how to cope with those things, and then how to cope with those around them and be a leader and all that kind of stuff. So that's the thing, everyone has a different way of doing things, whether it be management or cooking a dish or handling a piece of ingredient. What you do is you take the things that you like and make it your own as you go through your career.
And I'm guessing what I'm hearing you say as well is knowing the type of environment that you want to be in is so important.
Yeah,
like in general as well. Like
it is, yeah, and it takes a while to learn that, right? Because if you only just started out and you've only experienced one kind of kitchen, then you don't know that it can be different, or maybe there's something that suits you better. And for most chefs, you start your career wanting to be the best and wanting to work in the best restaurants, the 3-hat restaurants, the 3 Michelin star restaurants, and all that kind of thing. But that environment doesn't suit everyone, and oftentimes it's not sustainable for a long period of time either. So while it's great to go and get that experience, and I think it's very important to get those experiences, it doesn't have to be the be all and end all. You know, you can take those experiences and that care for quality and everything you do and translate it to something that's a bit simpler. Someone like Luke Powell, for example, that was trained at Tetsuya's, worked all over the world, was head chef at Tets, incredibly gifted chef, incredibly technical, but now runs a pizza joint, Bella Bruta, and a production company, LP's Quality Meats, where he makes mortadella and saucisse on sec.
wow.
You know, so completely different environments, but still taking that care, but it's not fine dining anymore.
Yeah.
You know, he's making incredible pizza and incredible cured meats, smoked meats, and using all that skill, but putting it in a completely different environment where the pressure's not so high, it's not so pedantic and pretentious and all that kind of stuff. It takes time to work those things out, and you're probably gonna have a few things where like that kitchen was really hard to work in, it was really stressful, maybe it was a bit toxic, but you know, I think the difference is now that there's so much demand for quality staff that you don't have to stay anywhere that isn't healthy for you.
Right.
You can go and get another job quite easily because everyone needs staff in hospitality around the country and almost around the world at the moment. And that also means there's no excuse for workplaces to be shit, to be toxic, because your staff can just go and get another job tomorrow, or walk into another job tomorrow. There's no benefit to it.
Right.
You're not creating better staff, you're not training them, you're not creating a better industry. So
What is the most what's one of the biggest stereotypes you think surrounding that world and what you do?
I think probably it's the drinking and the partying and all that kind of stuff. And I think still can be quite prevalent, but I almost don't think it's the norm anymore. And I also don't think that it's any different to any other industry, you know, like every industry has its bugbears and that kind of thing. And hospitality is a unique industry that's public facing. You have to deal with the public all the time. You have to deal with intoxicated people all the time. But it can be such a rewarding industry as well. And the fact that anyone from any walk of life can come into it and be successful is a really amazing thing.
Through, you know, kitchens, reviews, criticism, social media now as well, all of that, how do you stay grounded or take care of your inner person, like your energy?
I think social media has definitely changed. Sometimes it comes down to not reading the comments. The good ones can gas you up and make your head expand and think you're better than you are, and the negative ones can really sink you, and they might not be right, it might be too personal or whatever, and I think that's also changed criticism as well. But it's taste is subjective, right? You don't have to like everything. You don't have to like, a reviewer doesn't have to like your food. It might be personal taste. It becomes more about being confident in yourself and confident in the product you're putting out and believing in that product. And if you're doing that, not everybody has to like it.
Yeah.
You know, I like to create venues where everybody is welcome and we will look after everybody, but not everybody's gonna like it, and that's okay. You don't have to. And as long as we deliver the experience that we're there to deliver and you don't like it, that's fine. That's up to you. At the end of the day, some people just might not like it, and that's okay too. As long as you're putting out a product that you're proud to stand behind, that's all you can do. And at some point, if people are hating on you and don't think you deserve to be in the position that you're in and that kind of thing, you're probably doing something right.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
There's always going to be people with the cheap
100%.
seats, and that's just what it is. If you don't want that, don't do anything.
Yeah.
Which is you be passive, sit on the sidelines, don't do anything.
Don't put yourself out.
Exactly. What about just your inner man? Like, how do you switch off from everything, recharge? What do you do to take care of yourself?
I'm pretty lucky that I've always sort of looked after myself as much as I can. Like anybody, I get down sometimes, and stress can be really hard, especially when I was running my own business. But I try and train, go to the gym. I go to Pilates once a week. I sauna and cold plunge now as well. Like, I've always saunaed and added a cold plunge in. Just getting in the ocean, getting salt water and the sun, surrounding yourself with people that you care about and you can vent to, and they can give you, advice or constructive feedback. And I'm very lucky to have an incredible support network of people in and out of the industry. Really cultivated that over the years. And I'm really lucky to be a part of that community. And then just, doing those little things, like go to therapy if you need to go to therapy. If you need to take meds, take your meds, look after yourself. Like, if a little bit of therapy is all you need, that's fine. If going to the gym every day, making sure you go and hit a punching bag or something is enough for you, great. But just make sure you're doing those things that make a difference to your mood and how you are. Like, I notice if I don't go to the gym in the morning, then I'm way more lazy and probably a little bit more on edge in the day and that kind of stuff. So, and then also it's okay to rest sometimes. It's okay to spend a day in front of the TV just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Can't be every day, but downtime is important too.
Totally. When you're designing or crafting a menu, how much of it is this is what I want to create versus this is what I have available?
You start with what the venue is and what direction you want it to take. If it's an Italian restaurant or whatever, then that's one box that you have to work in. The next box you have to work in is the infrastructure you have. How big is your kitchen? What equipment does it have? How many staff can it fit? Et cetera, et cetera. And then down the line, it's then becomes, what are your staff capable of? You need to make the menu and the dishes that you're doing, they need to be able to recreate it. And then it's what's in season, what techniques you want to use, and all that kind of stuff. So, say for Kiln, for example, the directive I got for that was a seafood forward restaurant with wood fire cooking. From that, I built outwards and created everything around it.
Right.
And then it becomes, I like to cook very seasonally. I like to work with small farmers and fishermen and growers and all that kind of stuff. So then you're basing, okay, what's available? Can I be hyper seasonal? Can I use what the farmers have at its peak? And then how often am I changing? And
you're right, because I can imagine if someone's trying to cook all year round and something's just not available, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot to be able to promise that to your clientele, right?
Yeah, because when things are out of season, they're more expensive, the quality isn't there.
I always wondered that, what's that process like? And I'm sure it's different for everyone, but that makes total sense. And I love that you go in there, you start with what the restaurant is, what's the vision, what's the brief, I guess, and then go from there. When you go to a mate's place for dinner and they're like, oh, I want to cook you dinner, are you secretly low-key judging, or can you actually enjoy it?
Yeah, of course. I'm cook whatever you want for me. I'm happy as. Like I said, I'm a princess. If someone wants to do all the hard work and feed me, I'm there for it.
Soundbite, I'm a princess. It's I'm a princess.
And it's about the social thing. I'm spending time with my friends, I'm engaging with them.
Yeah.
It's filling my cup, as cliche as that is, but
It's true.
and I'm going to leave feeling great.
Yeah.
Because I've spent time with the people that I love.
Conversation and connection. Love it. What life challenge are you most proud of conquering?
So good. I know that's tough, as a 40-year-old cishet white man. I don't think I've had that many, really that many challenges, but I'm very proud of what I've achieved in my career and where I am, and I'm also very proud of who I am as a person. And I'm constantly trying to learn and improve and better myself, and in all ways. So as long as I'm doing that, and I'm being self-aware and I'm being a positive impact on those around me and those who I have influence over and that kind of thing, then, you know, winning the Young Chef of the Year award was incredible and like probably the biggest highlight of my career and my life. You know, like I've been really lucky. You know, when I knew I wanted to be a chef, my end goal was to own a restaurant.
Right.
And I never really thought past that, and to have achieved that and so much more than I ever thought I would, like I'm very, very blessed and very lucky. So yeah.
Has success meant something different to you before versus now? Like what does success as a chef mean to you now versus before?
I think when you're younger, you know, you want to win all the awards and you want the recognition and all that kind of, and I still fall into that sometimes. You know, someone else's success does not take away from your own success.
Right.
Just try and focus on yourself. And
that's a word right there. Someone else's success doesn't take away from your own success. I love that. So
yeah, and now it becomes, like I said earlier, it's more about the people who come through my kitchens and workplaces. I want them to leave as better people, because then that's a reflection on me. And they go to another venue and they impart that knowledge and that way of thinking and working onto somebody else. And that's how my legacy continues, you know? And it's not about me, it's about the next generation and improving the industry and that kind of thing. And then at the end of the day, if you're running a good business and you're doing things properly, the recognition will follow.
Yeah.
And that should be the focus. You know, the awards and all that kind of thing are nice, but the focus should be on what you're doing day to day. And if you do all that stuff right, all that stuff will happen, but that should be the focus. So, you know, I'd rather be running busy restaurants where customers are happy and having a great time and not ever get an award again than be running venues that people aren't happy working in, but we're winning awards. And
right.
You know, I think that's the sort of switch in focus as you grow.
That's powerful. It's like the question of what actually matters. What's your value, you know?
Yeah.
What do I value in life? Like, what's important? I love that, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Pleasure.
Mitch. We have something in common.
We do? Is it
fried chicken?
Very handsome? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're very handsome. Fried chicken.
It's the best.
It's the best, right?
Yeah.
It's only because I was reading and you love your KFC. But it's like, when I saw like an actual legit chef like loves a KFC Zinger burger, I'm like, I like this guy already.
Yeah, that's my weakness.
That's your go-to?
Yeah, that's my weakness.
Yeah. I could be getting this wrong, but it's like a secret ingredient that you use as well, or is it just like your go-to
No,
pleasure?
that's my guilty pleasure. It's the only fast food I really eat. I don't really eat anything else, but even if I'm just like driving past the KFC, it's very hard for me not to pull in and get a Zinger burger.
What's your order? So you're gonna get the Zinger burger?
Zinger burger, pretty much just a Zinger burger, maybe every now and then a coleslaw or some wicked wings.
It's a coleslaw. Sometimes it's too creamy and too, you know?
I like the KFC coleslaw. I like
Potato and gravy though.
I don't.
With no, you dip the fries in the.
No,
come on. Gonna put a poll with that potato and gravy coleslaw. Yeah, Zinger burger's so good, and I get the I'll get like 3 pieces of extra chicken.
Yeah, I'll get some tenders or some wicked wings. Get a Zinger box or something.
What's a fried chicken joint that I have to check out here in Sydney? Because I need the Rex. Like one of my favorite places is Amy Ruth's in New York. It's like not a franchise. It's so good. But I haven't found like soul food kind of fried chicken here.
That really exists here.
Or just even good fried chicken. Other than KFC.
Like Bell's Nashville chicken I haven't had it in a long time. It was really amazing back in the day. If you ever get a chance to eat Moon Park's fried chicken, which might be like maybe they bring it back at Moon Mart in Melbourne sometimes. That's the best fried chicken I've ever had.
Moon Park. Okay.
It doesn't exist anymore, but they have a place in Melbourne called Moon Mart.
All right.
Sometimes they bring it back.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't really eat that much fried chicken in Sydney nowadays. I think I probably eat a lot less of it than I used to as well in general. But yeah, like Arisan's still good for Korean fried chicken.
Korean fried chicken.
Yeah.
You guys are saying.
Sang's fucking great.
What cheers you up on a bad day?
That's a good question. Probably a massage and a sleep, a little nap, jump in the ocean, definitely, always works. You never feel worse getting out of the ocean than when you get in.
Yeah.
Even just exercise, like even going to Pilates today, most of the time on a Thursday, I'm pretty wrecked. It's getting towards the end of the week. And I get there and I complain the whole fucking time. And then I walk out feeling like, yeah, let's go. I feel really great after it every time. Like I hate going there, I hate doing it. And then every time I leave, I'm like, I feel $1 million, you know? There's just the little things, like even maybe going to the cinema, see a movie. It's, you know, sometimes you get stuck in a mood and you just got to ride it out, and
Yeah.
that's okay. You know, sit in the car and swear at traffic or something, and
Is that what you do in the warehouse?
sometimes, if the sun's out and the weather's good, like nothing beats jumping in the ocean and you know, sitting in the sun for a little bit, having a nap in the sun, kind of thing. Like,
It's hard to be here in Sydney as well.
yeah,
One of my favorite things to do is go for a walk by the ocean,
yeah.
jump in the ocean, go to the gym. Just like for my brain, just my mind, it just changes the whole trajectory of your day. And like you were saying before,
Train your thinking process, right? And
it does.
from negative to positive.
Even just the difference of starting your day with that versus not, it's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just little things everyone can really do to change their day.
The hard thing is that when you're in that mood,
Yeah.
it can be very hard to go, oh fuck, I'm going to get up and go to the gym. You know, I'm going to get up and do something. And I get stuck in that all the time. I'm like, hey, really like stressful day and I'm just exhausted and I just want to sit on the couch. But it's really frustrating because you do always feel better if you get up and go and do something. Even if it's just go for a walk around the block.
Yeah.
Your body feels better, which makes your mind feel better. You know, like start again tomorrow.
Have a zinger burger, you know?
Yeah.
And to finish things off, I'm gonna hit you with some fast trivia. You ready for this?
Yep.
What country eats the most instant noodles per capita?
China?
South Korea.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Who was the first solo rapper to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Also released the track Thug Passion in '96.
Tupac?
Yes, correct. The Michelin Guide originally started as what?
A tire traveling salesman kind of guide about where to eat when salesmen are traveling around Europe.
Correct. What is the national dish of Cambodia? Often made with fish, coconut milk, spices, steamed in banana leaves. Come on, Mitch.
I just had dinner with Sophia, my Cambodian friend, the other night. And we talked about not prahok. It's like a fish curry kind of thing. And we literally spoke about it on Monday night.
Amok.
Yeah.
Tonle Sap, the lake that reverses its flow seasonally, is a natural wonder found in which country?
My geography is not that good.
Cambodia.
I was going to say Cambodia, but I knew it was a trick question.
Mitch, thanks so much for being on the show.
Pleasure, bro.
Really appreciate it,
For
brother.
having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
If you love this episode of Banter with BC, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.